Good morning. Welcome both here in the sanctuary and online to the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg's Sunday service. We are on the unceded ancestral lands of both the Tocobaga and Seminole Native Americans. My name is Reverend Ben. My pronouns are he and they, and we're getting bigger and bigger crowds. We got snowbirds coming back. We got people coming back. It is good to see you all. We ran out of programs. Sorry, greeters. I'll make more next week. This week, Hindus celebrated Diwali, the Festival of Lights. We pagans celebrated Samhain, and Christians celebrated both All Souls and All Saints Days. I'm so excited for today's worship service. It's called Repairing Democracy, and our special guest is Reverend Linda McLeod. You can maybe see her. Welcome back, Reverend Linda. There she is. Sandy Weeks is going to offer our view from the pew, our board vice president, and today's worship associate is Alison Lonkey.
Hello. Hey, I'm a person too, not just a mom. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and good morning to all of you. If you want a church that chooses love over hate, where we can have difficult conversations with mutual respect, if you want a church where if you want a church that can admit when we're wrong and work hard for what's right, then I have good news. You may have found your church home.
Yes. How many of you were here for last week's all ages service? Pretty amazing, right? We do welcome the unique energy of children that the children bring to our services. They're welcome to go to their religious education classes right now. If you want to go to classes, some of the teachers are here. You're welcome. Thank you. Now, neurodivergent adults like me are also welcome. We have fidget toys in the back for those. And we have, that's your line. We have 3 announcements.
Right. So we have 3 announcements today. The Committee on Ministry is sponsoring Time with the Minister in the library following worship. All are welcome for this chance to talk with Reverend Ben and potentially Reverend Linda, if she's available.
She said yes.
Oh, she said yes? Yay! Okay. You have the chance to talk to both Reverend Ben and Reverend Linda in a smaller, quieter space.
And then at 12:30, it's the first Sunday of the month, so that means the LGBTQIA+ brunch will take place. We tried out a new spot and we liked it last month, the Frog Pond downtown. It's about 7 or 8 blocks that way, and allies are welcome to that brunch.
William Cowan will once again be orchestrating the kitchen activity for Thanksgiving dinner at UU St. Pete. Thank you. This has been a wonderful communion event the past couple of years, and we would like to continue the tradition. All are welcome. Dinner will be served at 3 p.m. on Thursday, November 28th, give or take the usual UU time distortions. Claudia Sundman will be in Gilmore with a sign-up sheet after the service. Please let her know if you will come and what you will bring, and or whether you will help with setup or cleanup. You don't have to decide today. You have a couple of more weekends.
Please read the rest of your announcements in the order of service, which is packed with not 1 but 3 inserts, one of which is double-sided, Broadway Cabaret on one side, Words to America the Beautiful on the other side. You want to say masks?
Masks are available at either entrance, but we do not mandate them.
As Unitarian Universalists, we are a group and a people of diverse beliefs, but we share a common faith that every person is worthy of love, that what we do in this world matters, and that we're connected to one another and to the earth. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here.
We want to give a special welcome to any newcomers. If you are new to UU St. Pete or even relatively new, can you give us a wave? Yay, thank you, welcome. If you would like, please briefly introduce yourself. Reverend Ben will bring the microphone to you so that those on YouTube can hear what you're saying, but you're under no obligation to say anything if you're not comfortable doing so. But if you're willing, we got you.
So raise your hand a second time if you're okay with me coming to you. It's always hard to be the first one. I'm like deliberately not looking in the eye of people.
Hi, I'm David Gelman. I've been coming here pretty much since July, and since there's a lot more people coming lately, which is nice, I just thought I'd introduce myself again to anyone who hasn't met me yet. So it's nice to see you all. It's good to be here.
Good to have you here. You're one of the ones I deliberately wasn't looking at.
Hi everyone, glad to be here today. It's a beautiful day. My name is Ainsley Varell. I relocated to Bradenton for a new job in April. I'm a longtime UU, mom's a longtime UU in Massachusetts, First Parish Church in Duxbury and Martha's Vineyard UU Fellowship. So glad to be here today.
All right, thank you for sharing, and thank you all for silencing your cell phones. Now, we're going to take a moment to greet our neighbors today. If someone's here and you appreciate them being here, please let them know. If you want to hug or shake hands, please remember to ask for consent. So give it a minute or two. Go ahead.
Hey, Emily. Please rise as you're willing and able for our first hymn. It's number 1008 in our teal hymnal, one of my favorites, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Bong. Bong. Did it go back off?
Hymn 1008 in the teal. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart heart is in a holy place. When we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Please remain standing for our chalice lighting. When Cindy Burns lights our chalice, I invite you to say the covenant out loud. Our words can be found within your programs and online. If you want, for bonus points, you can do your hands to heart and then your hands reaching out like you're serving as you're saying the words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. You may be seated. And we've now come to the time in our worship service for joys, sorrows, and concerns. I haven't said hi to the YouTube audience specifically. You're not here physically, but your presence is still felt. So I'm glad you are here. Feel free to submit your joys, your sorrows, your concerns online in the text chat. First, a stone of, it's not too late, by the way. If you haven't filled out a card, you can do it now and bring one up, or have a neighbor bring it up. But our first stone is a stone of sorrow. Our beloved Dick Miller is one of the handful of folks whose home was destroyed by the hurricanes. As a result, he has moved to Connecticut. Yes, no, that was my response exactly. I talked to him twice on the phone. Are you coming back so we can say a goodbye party? He just sounded really tired, so please keep him in your hearts. Dick, if you're watching us, we miss you already if you heard the and we wish you well. Please keep us in your heart. We will keep you in ours.
Stones of both concern and joy from Emily Chavi. A lot of stressful stuff is going on, but we're staying strong and happy through it all.
Now, each week we try to appreciate an individual or a team who takes leadership in our community, and this week we appreciate Kathy Lee. Kathy, are you here? She's probably working in the kitchen, because that's why we appreciate her. She's always like cleaning up, setting up in the kitchen, doing the live streaming, and even when she's not doing that, we just appreciate Kathy Lee for who she is. Thank you, Kathy.
A stone of joy for William Cohen, who is creating beautiful art.
Yes, woo. A stone of joy from Lila Donilo. It is her mother's birthday today. Happy birthday, Sula. And I think we received another card on this. Let's see. Oh yeah, from Sula Donilo. It's just also a stone of joy. Please sing my birthday song for me. Dun, 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 dun. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sula. Happy birthday to you. We're glad you were born, Sula. Good harmony, everyone.
And next we have a stone of sorrow from Joanna Zeman. Her friend Wayne Thompson passed on a few days ago. Wayne's memorial service will take place at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Woodstock, Vermont.
We have a couple from last week. Amy Jackson has a stone of joy. Azariah Moses got released from the hospital on November 1st and celebrated his birthday. And oh, there's Azariah right now. Happy birthday also.
Happy birthday to to you. Happy birthday,
Azariah. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're still here. We have a stone of sorrow from Reverend Ben. Emma Schock and her partner and their toddler were displaced by the hurricanes. Their hotel has stopped accepting FEMA vouchers, and they have no place to stay starting Monday.
And this was last Monday, so they have no place to go. Now the
Emma
cards
Schock.
from this week. Yeah, Emma Schock and her partner and their 4-year-old. So a stone of joy from Liz Ryland this week. Liz says, my dear daughter Lisa has a glioblastoma brain tumor, but she is under good care at the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. Now she is feeling much better and is very cheerful. Her husband is wonderful to her, and they are both coping as well as possible. Glad to hear that, Liz.
We have a stone of sorrow for the devastation from Mike Lovejoy for the sorrow of devastation of Hurricane Helene in the Appalachians, and joy for the love and compassion shown by compassionate helpers.
Stone of concern. It's not signed, but I think it's from Rebecca. Did you already vote? If so, clap your hands. Oh, wow. Okay. And then it says, if not, do you have a plan to vote? Yes, you do. Okay.
Bring your posse, too. All right. We have a stone of joy from Susan Gore for all my UUSP friends and others who helped make the first celebration of my birthday yesterday with a Dolphin Sunset Cruise. Salty Pelican put on a great trip. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Susan. We're not singing. I went to that church and they sang happy birthday for an hour. Right. Day to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan. Happy birthday to you.
So this is a great time to align with our American culture of blaming. If we go on too long, it's not because our service is really, really long, which it is. It's because saying happy birthday.
It's the happy birthday.
So
Russ
service.
and Ron are back. Welcome back, Russ and Ron. It is not their birthday. Just getting it out there now. But on October 18th, they celebrated their 49th anniversary. 49 years together. Congratulations. No. I'm going to turn this car around.
So next, I have a joy from Soraya. A joy for her. She's visiting her daughter Hannah this weekend in North Carolina.
Great. That's all I have. So we'll
Yeah.
place this final stone, thank you, Deb, for the joys and sorrows that remain and birthdays that remain in our hearts. Maybe these joys, these sorrows are too tender to be spoken out loud. And let's read our responsive reading.
May our hearts not become calloused by the never-ending incidences of oppression and hatred that so many face each day.
Rather, may we keep our hearts open to the positive efforts
of so many people causing good trouble in the world.
May we have the strength to demand and gain the right for all people to have a safe place to sleep, health care to keep them strong, and the knowledge that their lives matter.
The struggle is taking longer than it should, but we will get there if we continue to strive for basic human rights.
May all of us find a comforting and compassionate presence in the warmth of fellowship and community. Now, the mystery is that we are connected even when we feel apart. So let's rejoice in this beloved community that makes of the many one, and let us take a moment of silence together.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
I'm looking for Sandy. Oh, hey.
I'm here this morning to tell you my personal voting story. I'm so excited that so many of you have already voted. The first time I voted was against Richard Nixon. I had started college in 1971 while guys I knew in high school were dealing with the draft. Then that fall, I heard the news that a peace treaty had been reached in Vietnam. My first thought was, how many people died so the treaty could be scheduled for political effect? I thought of all the young men whose lives were upended by the war. I thought of the civilian deaths in Vietnam, so I ignored the fact that my father was going to be angry at my vote for a Democrat and voted my conscience. After graduation, I received the Alumni Association scholarship to attend law school. But I was also injured in a car accident and had to deal with multiple men seeming to control my life. Then after getting through the first year, my apartment was broken into and I was assaulted. Again, I was dealing with multiple men who seemed to be wanting to control my life. All this was on top of the fact that I had gone to law school because my father pressured me. I decided then and there that I was not going to allow men to control my life any longer. Later, I attended the National Organization for Women's National Conference in Rochester, New York, which included a day at Seneca Falls, home of the first Women's Rights Convention. It was a transcendent experience. It really was. I had already been working in political campaigns for candidates I respected. I had also read Bella Abzug's book on the gender gap. I watched as election after election, the gender gap was growing, with more men voting for the likes of Ronald Reagan and more women voting for candidates holding more democratic values. I watched as the Republican Party brought in the evangelical churches, the so-called right to life movement, racist and law and order elements into their party in an effort to remain in power. Anybody remember the Willie Horton ad? I also watched as voting rights were suppressed by sheriff's departments in the Panhandle, setting up roadblocks in black communities, as gerrymandering took place, as the most important part of the Voting Rights Act was struck down. And I watched as after each of these, caring and thinking women and young people began coalescing into a progressive movement again, while the red wave did not occur in 2022. I watched as families were separated at the border, as women died under draconian abortion bans. I am still watching. I saw that this year's polling data indicates a gender gap of about 40 points between non-college educated men and women. And I feel hope for America.
This song was written by Roy Zimmerman, who about 3 or 4 years ago did a concert right here. And as I was sitting in the first bench here, I looked up and I saw the banner. That hangs there all year round, but it's especially important this week.
That's right. It's all pointing towards today, toward this week.
Way back when they said all men,
They meant every wealthy European male. Way back then, to vote required being white and being rich and being male. They said you can't vote if you got no property.
you can't vote if you're not free.
You can't vote if you are a woman, 'cause you got no stake in democracy.
Year by year, people had to ponder what the Declaration must have meant when it said, by all men.
Clearly it was time for an electoral adjustment.
And they won the vote,
For those who had no property.
won the vote for those who weren't free.
Won the vote for women in America. They wrote it down, it was guaranteed. They all said it's my vote, you can't deny it. My voice,
can't take it away.
my right, I won't be quiet. It's my vote, my voice, my right. My vote, my voice, my right. Well, a right right's a right, but without a fight it can evaporate and float away.
And by night, there were those who came around and tried to take the vote away.
Saying you can't vote, you haven't paid the poll tax. You can't vote,
You can't pass the exam.
you can't vote for fear of retribution. And the people stood up and said, well, damn, it's my vote. You can't deny it. My voice
Can't take it away.
my right. I won't be quiet. It's my vote, my voice, my right. My vote, my voice, my right. So my friends, get to know your candidates and register and rock the boat. And beware, always in the shadows there are those who want to block your vote. Saying you can't vote, you registered improperly. You can't vote,
The lines are too long.
you can't vote, the machine isn't working right.
You can't vote. You've been purged by the rolls.
Say you're gonna use it, say you'll never lose it. And if they ask you whose it is, just say it's my vote. My vote, my voice,
My voice,
my right,
my right.
my vote.
Thank you, James. Thank you, John. Reverend Linda McLeod graduated from the Tuskegee University in Alabama with a Bachelor of Science in Engineering. She is the Unity Minister at Unity of Midtown, but I know her most as the president of the Interfaith Tampa Bay group. We have monthly breakfasts that some of you have attended at the restaurant at the little airport. What's it called? At the hangar, and those of you who haven't come to those breakfasts, you should come. And we wanted to do this service the Sunday before Election Day, specifically as an interfaith service, because we felt that that was important. And she's very, very busy, so I'm just so glad you had time to come with us. Please welcome Reverend Linda McLeod.
Thank you, Reverend Ben. I'm so happy to be here. I'm gonna push this up. So I take a class and I have to count my ahs and ums. So be aware that I say and I work on you know, that was one of my favorites. I'm working because you don't know, because I don't know. Repairing the democracy. We just completed Interfaith Week. And Interfaith Week this year was faith, diversity, and democracy, our common ground. And the question that we asked during the week was, what is our common ground? What is it that, as an interfaith group, what makes us alike more than different? Because we spend so much time talking about our differences and what's different about each of us. And we in Interfaith, we want people to realize it's not really interfaith. We're not trying to merge the faith together. It's multi-faith coming together for a common purpose. And that purpose is for us to understand that our faith is not, well, I don't want to say it that way. Our faith is important to us because all of our faith teaches the same thing. That's to love our brothers and our sisters. There's a golden rule in every faith tradition that says treat others the way you want to be treated. And so as in this process of our communities and our the lives, one of the things I wrote down that I remember when I went to vote, it says, it is not a government of the people. It is a government of the people who what? Vote. If you're not voting, then you're not making your voice heard. And that was important for me. that my voice be heard, even if it's my voice and how I feel about situations. The idea that Reverend Ben asked me to talk about is repairing the democracy. The question is, how to repair a broken system, or is the system broke? Is the system broke? The system was designed originally for a certain group of people, and those people were men with property. Nobody else counted in that system. And then along the way, we've added amendments to the Constitution that allow what? Other people to have a right to participate in that government by the voting community. And as the young lady was sharing, she was saying there were so many obstacles to trying to make this a fair system, that there are groups of people who feel like the only people that matter are people who look just like them or believe just like them or who act just like them. Our idea as interfaith and as people is that we come together for all people. So the system, is democracy broke? Do we need to repair the system? It's like I got a broke car, right? And I need to have something repaired, or I have to change something. And sometimes you take it in and you think it's broken when it's not really broke. And you have to, I choose to look at, well, what was I thinking or what was happening that allowed me to think that something was wrong? So we look at the system, the democracy, or the republic democracy, or the democracy of the republic. I don't know about you guys, but it's very confusing about what kind of government system we have. Because in this democracy, it says for all people, we have to question that, but it's a representative democracy, which means that we elect people to give them the voice that we want. We elect people, hopefully, that will represent our voice. And when we do gerrymandering and we do some of the other systems that doesn't allow for all voices, then there is a problem that needs to be repaired. And so that, when we look at, there's a repair, but the system itself is really not broken. The system came with a decision. I wasn't there, but there were several men who made those decisions about how the system would work. And it starts off with what? Anybody know the beginning of the Constitution, the preamble? The preamble we say in one group? We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. I loved it 4 years ago. Yeah, a little over 4 years ago, when we were having the dissension in the United States, and I love this Republican who got up and he talked. I can't remember his name, but he said, "We the people of the United States," not one group of people, but unless all of us participate, that one group of people will have the voice. As I was coming in, somebody asked me, I tell my stories, and if you don't want to hear my stories, sorry. She asked me, did I vote? I said, yes, I voted. She said, well, do you support voting? And I said, no. And then I had to stop and think about, yes, I'm involved in a lot of organizations where we really support people voting. I don't care who you vote for, but at least have your voice heard. At least have an input into the system. You know, I worked in an environment where there was both groups of people, and I'm involved because I'm involved in a lot of stuff. Everybody has a good reason for what they do. It's not my job to change your decision, but look deep into your heart and into your soul to see if the people that you are electing are for all people, or are they selectively looking at one group of people. We go back to the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement started as for black people, and then it became people of color, and then it became all people, GLBTQ. A lot of the movement would not have occurred if women hadn't got involved, if people of color had not got involved. That's why when you look at that civil rights statement, it went from the black people, or people, colored people, or African Americans, I think by the time it was still colored people, that it went to gender, identity, women. All of that was added because all people got involved in that process, because they felt, I was a baby at the time, that there was a bigger picture that needed to be looked at in America. So we've solved a lot of the problems with the system. Now it's up to us to go out and vote to make the system work. Even if we lose, or they lose, or whoever lose, we will have said, I did my part. That I've looked at who I am, and I look deep within my soul, and I feel that I made a great choice. And it's not just the presidential campaign, it's also all of those different people that are voting for representative, senate, city council. There's all these people who are making decisions for who? Us. We've elected them to represent us. And when we are in that process, there's a group, the Muslim, I really love their agenda that they had about 5 years ago. They went out and looked at all of the candidates that were running, and they looked at what those people were doing in the community. And they made a list of a lot of the people who were doing work, but not in their communities. And so you want people who know your community and know your voice, so that when you are electing them to a position, you want people who believe like you believe. It's like when you select a minister. You want a minister who believes in the ideas and the philosophy of your community. So as we're in this process, not about one person, but all people, the collective voice of all people, or the collective voice of the majority of the people, because we all don't all agree. We're different. We're all different. We're individualized expressions of the divine, but we get to express that individuality in our collectiveness. So as we move forward in this era of shift and change, the democracy is not broken. We don't need to repair the democracy. The system that is in place, there's a few changes that need to be made, but the whole system works if we participate in it. We make the choices. And when we find that it's not working, we get to choose again. And we don't have to wait to the end of that process. We can go in the middle and say, hey, there's something wrong with this. We need to look at it, and we need to reassess what is going on and bring in a new idea. So as we're coming to this election day, yes, I voted already. My family would have killed me if I hadn't. I had to vote early. I couldn't wait till Tuesday. But the idea is that we the people of the United States, in order to what? Form a more perfect union. We get to be part of that process. Not one selected group, but all of us. And we fought for the right to what? To do that. So, in order to have a more perfect union, remember, it is not the government of the people, it is the government of the people who vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you.
Thank you. We eat fruit from trees planted before we were born. May we plant seeds that bear fruit long after we're gone.
Today we're doing Share the Plate. Reggie sent me an email about this. Look, Reggie and Karen are back. Hi, Reggie. Hi, Karen. And he sent me an email that says half the collection goes to one of our ministries here at UU St. Pete when we do share the plate. And this week, half the collection goes to UU's Helping People, our Friday sunset supper that many of you volunteer for.
Every week, volunteers serve homemade soup and a hot main meal to 100+ guests. Your contribution helps defray the cost of supplies to our volunteers. Here in the sanctuary, the offering will now be given and received.
What's given with love, we receive with great gratitude. Thank you for the offering. The times they are a-changing. Thank you, Reverend Linda. That was perfect. Thank you so much for being here, for speaking from the heart. Thank you for your music, James, John. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Allison. It's been an interesting few weeks here. As we said during Joys and Sorrows, some of us are still without our homes, some still without our cars following the hurricanes. Many of you have talked with me about this, and I know many of you are helping and holding, many of you. We had a small hurricane Zoom support group last night, and we can have them again if folks need that. And then last week, our hurricane anxiety smoothly transitioned into election anxiety. And I've talked with many of you about this. You feel afraid of what might happen on Tuesday. You feel afraid of what might happen afterwards. Now, some of you channeled that fear, that anxiety into action. I saw many of you yesterday carrying Yes on 4 signs or wearing Yes on 4 stickers like this one. I was proud to be there with you. Woo indeed. Our actions here, I don't know if you knew that, were mirrored at our sister congregation in Clearwater and then across the state. In Orlando, several UU congregations came together, supported by the UUA, the Unitarian Universalist Association, to voice our denomination's support for reproductive justice. Sandy talked about the National Organization for Women. I too have been a NOW member for all of my adult life. We were joined by NOW, by the League of Women Voters, by many progressive groups. Our November theme is the practice of repair, and we begin with today's topic of repairing democracy, which Reverend Linda talked about quite a bit, and it is indeed in need of repair. With the car analogy, those check engine lights are on. Some of us have many of the lights, and sometimes a lot of them are on. The loser of the last election encouraged a mob to take over our nation's capital after a foreign government interfered in that election. So that light is on. And then that same candidate is spreading lies about voter fraud and sowing distrust in the election process, in mail-in ballots. So that light is on. Now, we Unitarian Universalists believe in the democratic process. We believe in it here within our congregation. We believe in it in our community and in our country. But these threats to democracy are not new, and neither is the need for repair. Some in marginalized communities claim that white progressives are anxious now because if Trump gets in office, we might be subject to the same treatment that BIPOC, the LGBTQIA+ people have all along. Right? So when he says the enemy within, quote unquote, it sounds threatening to me. But marginalized communities have been treated as the enemy within for centuries. Reverend Linda told us that the system was designed to support a certain group of people. Newsflash, it's people who look like me. And John and James sang about poll taxes, sang about exams for African American voters. And even before that, Nicole Hannah-Jones taught us that our country was founded not as a democracy, but as a slaveocracy, that our founding fathers would not have been able to accumulate the wealth necessary to challenge the British Empire without the wealth they got from slavery. That's not what I learned as a child, by the way. That's not what I learned in elementary school. We had like this musical about George Washington. It was basically lionizing these founding fathers, not mentioning they were slave owners, that they owned human beings. They were the defenders of liberty against the evil empire of the British. And it wasn't until I was a young adult that I found out about our settler colonization of the United States. Is Sandra here? Sandra talked about her indigenous, about being an indigenous person brilliantly 2 weeks ago. And if you didn't see that, it's on YouTube. And it wasn't until my young adulthood that I found out that women could not vote, could not own property, could not open a bank account until very recently. 50 years ago was the open the bank account. And then I did learn that women won the right to vote in 1920, but that's not really true either, because years later I learned about Jim Crow laws and other barriers that remained for BIPOC women. Remember, BIPOC means Black, Indigenous, people of color. So, Reverend Linda's question is a good one. How do we repair this democracy? How do we repair it if it was actually founded on colonization, on male supremacy, on white supremacy, where racism and misogyny isn't a bug, it's a feature? With the car analogy, if we're not repairing the car, I mean, okay, so you got the lights on the car, something's wrong with the car, but we haven't asked, does it make sense that the car runs on fossil fuels? Well, now we're asking that. Is the democracy running? Do you follow me? Maybe we repair and maybe we make deeper systemic changes, as Reverend Linda suggests, or maybe we do both. Maybe we repair this democracy one vote at a time, one day at a time, one sticker or sign at a time, one connection with someone different from us at a time. We repair this democracy by centering the voices and the experience of marginalized people in our midst. Maybe we repair this democracy by not having it run on fossil fuels anymore, by changing the systems that benefit the privileged at the expense of others. Maybe we repair this democracy by electing candidates that represent people, not profits. those who held the signs yesterday. We won't repair democracy by that very act. But we were not alone yesterday. Repairing democracy will take our entire lives. It will be frustrating to the point of despair sometimes, but there's no other work I'd rather be doing, and no other people I'd rather be doing with than you all, right here. You might have noticed the piano music during the collection, and Bob Dylan was right. The times they are a-changin'. And Reverend Linda had us sing that preamble to the Constitution, and my favorite phrase of that is, toward a more perfect union. Sound familiar? It's like our Unitarian Universalist value of transformation. Our founding fathers did realize that we will learn as we go along, that this democracy experiment will teach us as we go, that we will do better as we learn more. They knew right away it would need repairing. The repair work may sometimes be messy, sometimes require sacrifice. Since the system that was created to benefit people who look like me, it may need those systemic repairs instead of surface ones. And there was a man named Pastor Dietrich Bonhoeffer. There's a movie coming out about him, and one of the things he said was, we are not to simply bandage the wounds of victims beneath the wheels of injustice. We are to drive a spoke into the wheel itself. Don't just bandage. Drive a spoke into the wheel itself. You may know Bonhoeffer was a German Christian pastor who opposed Nazism and was ultimately killed for it. Reverend Linda also talked about representative democracy, and that will also be uncomfortable, is uncomfortable. I am, for example, a strong supporter of Kamala Harris. But I've also been open about my criticism of the Biden-Harris government, the military support of the State of Israel. I will continue to do that. Because you can do that. You can vote for somebody while still holding them accountable for the things you disagree with. We're voters, we're not cheerleaders. It's okay to put our candidates under that level of scrutiny. They're applying for a job to work for us, the job of leading the country. Accountability is just as important as encouragement. Now, this is the first time some of you have heard me talk up here, and maybe this doesn't sound like other sermons or reflections that you've heard. For those new to Unitarian Universalism, we don't have just one holy book. We draw our inspiration from all writings, from all examples, and we don't have a creed, so this room is filled with folks who believe different things about supreme beings, about the afterlife, who live their lives differently, who vote differently. But we come together for this notion that we want to co-create a better world where justice, equity, interdependence are valued, where pluralism, interdependence, and generosity are cherished, where love is at the center. When we tell a story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. I don't know what's going to happen this week. I certainly hope Amendment 4 passes, but that'll just be one step in the work for reproductive justice. I certainly hope Kamala Harris becomes our first woman president. And I'll still lobby her to stop sending weapons to Israel. And if the other guy wins, then I will happily join the ranks of the enemy within. So here at UU St. Pete, let us strengthen our networks so we can support our community where infrastructure and the government fail. We have so many allies and relationships in our community, within faith groups and within the wider community. Let's rely on them the way we rely on one another. Yes, some of us are feeling anxious about the election, and I can't wave a magic wand and make the anxiety go away. But I can promise you won't be alone with it. I can remind you that each of us has tasted true democracy, even if it was just for a moment. It might have happened here in UU St. Pete at a covenant group, or while you're volunteering, or here in worship. Each of us has had someone listen to us deeply with a loving mind. Each of us has fed someone or been fed, has cried on someone's shoulder. Each one of you is a precious, beautiful human being, and each of you has been seen as a precious human being at some point in your life. Let's create a world where you're seen like that every day. The church is already a place of spiritual refuge, and in recent years it's become a place of refuge for those who need food when they're hungry, who need shelter when they are cold. If need be, it can be a place of political refuge for the enemy within. After Tuesday, let's celebrate our victories if we have them, mourn our losses if we have them. But either way, let's still do this work to repair democracy. Let's do this work for a world where everyone is seen and everyone is valued, is cherished, where everyone is free. Amen. Ashe. And blessed be. Please rise as you're willing and able for our closing hymn, America the Beautiful. The lyrics are printed in your order of service on the other side of the Broadway Cabaret. And it's a very interesting history to this America the Beautiful that I did not know about.
Well, yes, the woman who wrote, well, you're probably wanting me to say she was a lesbian, okay? Let's get that out there.
She was a lesbian.
She was a writer. She was a poet and a college professor, and she went to, this was 1893, and she went to Pikes Peak in Colorado, and she was so moved that she wrote this poem, and it was an instantaneous success and turned into a song, and let's sing it together.
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God bend thine every flaw, firm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law.
You may be seated. Our closing words are by Lucas Hergert. It's called Democracy's Benediction.
We are democracy, unruly, unfinished, unrelenting, people of rebellious joy taking to the streets, underground resilience, resisting complacence, the pleasure of activism, organizing into simple hope.
We are democracy, people of principles taking on principalities, witnessing the worth of those called unworthy, justice just now gaining ground, integrity of interdependent existence extending, living democracy in hands, heads, hearts.
We know that democracy can die, ossify brittle byproducts of bygone idealists, plotting politicians, pirating votes, corporations cannibalizing our care for the world. Look, it can wither, distend, come to an end.
Democracy today, we will love you alive. We will love you alive, make you ours, make you thrive, and vote as though our hope is on the line. Please remain seated for the postlude.
We invite you to stay seated, but follow along with the hand gestures, light of truth, warmth of love, fire of courage. As Gordia extinguishes our chalice, the words to UUSP's traditional chalice extinguishing are in your order of service and also online. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. I hope that Ben and Linda will get to meet some of you and talk to you guys after service in the library. And we hope that this worship service will help you through your week and help you remember that you are not alone. Blessings.